What's your go-to cover tune? When you're like, all right, I got to resuscitate the crowd. I'm going to play this one. This one's going to get them.
I play so much like more indie stuff that like, I don't know if I ever do resuscitate the crowd as far as like super popular stuff.
I don't know if I ever do resuscitate.
Just in the sense of like, the stuff I play is not going to be big popular songs in that sense.
Yeah, right.
Like, a popular song within that world of what I like to play is like Just Like Heaven by The Cure. That's something like that.
Today's episode is very special to me. I'm bringing back Jorge Vallentine of the band VLNTYN to join me. We first met when I was backlogging episodes back in April, and to see his growth over the next 6 months and become friends and be able to share our creative projects together has been a real joy. I wanted to share his story and his evidences of growth and what he's been through over the next 6 months with you. I hope you enjoyed this one. Up next, from Wisconsin, we have Jorge Vallentine. Jorge Vallentine, my brother from Wisconsin, man. So good to connect with you again.
Hey, it's good to be back.
Yeah, man. It's so cool. And this particular interview has me excited because you were my, I think, 4th or 5th interview to air, but I was logging interviews in April. So it really has been like a whole 6 months. But of all my guests, I probably kept in touch with you the most. So I saw the incremental growth from like month to month and everything that you were doing. I watched the songwriting like shift into this more accessible, cool thing. I watched like your compositions become more and more polished, and watching your growth has just been, it's been one of my favorite things to do online.
Well, thanks, man. Yeah, that's really cool that we've been able to keep touch, even, just random posts here and there. We'll like see each other's stuff and just comment on it. It definitely makes everything just feel a little bit more tangible when you're doing online stuff, when you like meet a person and then you're actually like, oh, I'm not just like one time hello and then goodbye forever.
Sure, man. Well, I'm trying to build this little dysfunctional family here at Loves Music, man.
Yeah, right. Same here.
Yeah, but so the project is called The Devil You Know, right? And you have 2 songs off of that, which I think are both smashes. Trouble and My Limit. I think My Limit is the hit. Trouble's a really cool song too. When you say the devil, let's talk about the project first, like it holistically. The Devil You Know, I take that to believe like literally the devil you know, like the urges inside you, the guilty conscience, the devil on your shoulder. Am I way off, kind of off? Is that accurate?
Well, so I guess to clarify first, that phrase was just like, it's something that came to me for, I don't know why. I mean, every so often I'll just have an urge to like change something, right? Because it's like feeling boxed in is not a good feeling for me. So visually, just like with the project and stuff, I had this, for whatever reason, the urge to like put on these devil horns. Mm-hmm. But the Devil You Know thing was just like me kind of like coming up with a new way to describe the band or the project or myself as like this character in a sense. And I just kind of thought like a big part of what I do is, again, going into dark themes and like kind of hopefully helping people realize like they're not alone, and also that we have to talk about these things and face them in some way, to kind of not hold it in and then have it come out in a negative way. And then it's also just like my approach to doing things, which is whenever somebody follows me, every single person that follows me, I send them a message. If it's a platform, I can do that and just say thank you. And some of those people, like, we just here and there have conversations, like it continues just into the future. So just like the idea of like trying to connect with people, and then just the visual of like the devil in the darkness that kind of visually represents some of the music themes. So
okay. So I think something that you do well is that you do kind of give yourself fully over to the narrative. I think some people with like branding and persona, sometimes it can box you in. You know, I'm the sex kitten, so all my songs have to be like sexy with choreography. Or I'm the everyman, but I'm the everyman as a gimmick, so I have to be in the flannels with the guitar, singing about trucks. And, you know, I think with you, the persona and the character gives you permission to explore, and it's almost liberating. Would you agree with that, or would you feel that I'm wrong there?
I don't think you're wrong. I think this is something that a lot of people struggle with, just from posts I've seen people make, where they're just like, I don't want to have to post the same thing, or I don't want to have to do the same thing over and over. And I have that same feeling. So it's like, it's definitely a push and pull between like, genuinely, I feel like this is part of me. And also like, if I try to force it too much, I start to feel like this, I don't want to be only a brand, you know, like I'm trying to keep myself as part of it, but not let it become my whole identity. So it's tough, but I do think that there's pros and cons to the idea of like creating a character or persona. As we've seen with so many artists, like it can really let you let go of some things. I'm still finding my footing with it and figuring out how I want to use that idea, that concept.
Yeah, because it doesn't come across as exploration. You feel like I feel like I'm watching like a fully formed artist. Like when I see you perform, when I see the visual aesthetic, the TikTok matches the Instagram, matches the guy, matches the music. You know, it all feels very cohesive.
Right.
It feels deliberate yet still authentic. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah. I think that's good to hear. And I think it's, again, just like one of those things is when you're in that position yourself, it just, you judge it so much differently. And if
Yeah.
you're like watching somebody else, like whenever I see somebody and they have every single video, they like wear the same thing or they just like look the same and they have that recognizability, I'm just like, they got it figured out. Then I look at their follower count, it's almost always way higher. So like obviously it works.
Right.
So sometimes I'm just like, is it just a self-sabotage thing that makes us be like, nah, I don't want to do that. I know it works, but I don't want to do it.
Well, I don't think we do the thing long enough to get an accurate data point, right? So
Yeah.
you try to do the thing and it doesn't work in 3 weeks. Be like, oh, I'm going to try something else. And it's like, well,
Right.
no, you need like 100. You need like 100 marketing pieces and at least another 5 platforms to see if the thing actually works. You know, so it's like it's not that
Yeah.
we're what's the saying I like? It's not that we're bad. You just didn't do it long enough to get good. You know.
Yeah, 100%. That's a great
Right.
way to do it.
There's something that you said earlier, and I don't want to gloss over it. You said the music is meant to be dark to cover or address some darker themes. Can you unpack some of those for me?
Yeah, I mean, pretty much all the songs that I've written that I felt like were the most meaningful to write have been ones where I'm just like working through some sort of grief, some sort of just like hard feeling, a lot of sad songs and stuff like that. But when I get like the words just right and it feels like I really like said the thing I needed to, first of all, it just like helps me feel a lot better and process that stuff. Um, but like it just kind of feels like I actually accomplished a meaningful thing lyrically.
Mhm.
And then with some of the songs, that sound also is just like darker, and it just like, to me, it just feels good when I hear certain songs that are that alt rock kind of dark vibe.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like I know that I typically don't like, even with like very like industry mainstream music, I never gravitate towards the single. I always like the deeper cuts that are like darker, harder, grittier. And then I always
Yeah.
like skip the singles that were like on the radio that they have videos for, you know? And I
Yeah.
notice I do that. So I think it's the same as well. Speaking of the rest of your catalog, actually on this go around, I actually got to spend a little bit more time with your stuff. And you have like this like catalog of acoustic music that I didn't even know about. Like I don't think it's on like Apple Music. I think it's actually only on Spotify. And I stumbled upon it. I'm like, what is this? First, take me through the time period. When was the acoustic stuff that you recorded? Is that several years ago?
I want to say, man, let's see. I'm gonna actually pull it up real quick on my Spotify to see when I released. I think it was 2 years ago. But yeah, as far as the just like why it doesn't show up on some of the other Apple Music in particular, like they don't let you change your name, and it's the one platform that doesn't.
Yeah.
So I had all my stuff under a different name, and then when I changed it, that was the one place that I couldn't do it with my old stuff to move over, which was fine because I was like starting a new kind of phase and brand or whatever. I don't think I can actually see because I stopped paying for Spotify.
Okay.
I was like, it doesn't let you see all the data the same way. It's like all hard to find stuff on your phone.
They're like, if you're not going to pay us, you're not going to be able to read this stuff.
They make it hard. But in any case, yeah, I think it was 2023 that I recorded that and then started putting it out. I believe October of 2023. I put out the first song, and then within the next couple months, I did the rest of those.
And let me know if I'm oversharing here. You were at this point, you had already come out of the divorce when you were writing that stuff. Well, you were probably writing it before 2020. It didn't come out until 2020.
Right. Yeah, some of those. Well, so 2023 would have been. God, I don't know why. It's like time has been so weird during that time that like I forget if it was 2022 or 2023. Actually, here's the way that I can tell you. I can go to my memos and look up just like one of those songs. And during that time, I think I wrote probably 20 songs, right?
It's funny how that works, right? You're like, it sucked that I went through this crisis, but I got a whole album out of it.
Yeah, right. How many people? I'm sure a lot of artists have said that, right? Or paintings out of it.
Yeah, right. Adele had a Grammy award-winning career out of it.
Yeah, I mean, Taylor Swift's whole thing, right?
Yeah, right.
All the breakup and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why it's giving me trouble. But anyway, so like, for example, You're Talking Dog, that song that you mentioned
right
yesterday when we talked, the original date on my phone from when I first recorded a voice memo was 2021, September 13th of 2021. So 4 years ago. But I believe it was the following year, about a year after that I kind of started going through my divorce stuff. And that took like 15 months. So I believe it was 2024 in February that I finalized my divorce stuff. So yeah, so I was putting those songs up before.
Got it. I heard that song. Actually, I'm gonna read some lyrics real fast. I'm all bark and you're all bite. Somehow I've never been right. I guess we'll do things your way. The talking dog has learned to stay. All your friends have made their bed. How to bleed until it's spent. I hope when I leave this cage, I can find myself again. When I first heard the song, I liked it. Then you told me you were going through the midst of a divorce. And then when I had that analogy with the lyrics, I was like, this song is brilliant, like Blackbird level brilliant. I like love this song.
Appreciate it. I think lyrically, it's really one of the strongest ones I have, where it just feels like it's every so often I'll get one of those songs where it's like a concept kind of message, where it's like, I am this metaphor, you know, You're Talking Dog. Like that one just felt like it really encapsulated that feeling I had in that relationship for so long. And yeah, I mean, looking back, it was kind of like getting into that point of the, like, things are definitely going to end now. And realizing I've been writing about getting out of this relationship for years, not realizing that's what these songs are about until like getting to this point. Because every time I would write a song, because it helps me kind of get through things,
right,
that was my escape. And then like I would like bring the feelings out of me enough to like continue, you know, but not realizing this isn't ever going to quite work. So
well, even the recording of that song, like you did it with very sparse production. It's an acoustic guitar. You're singing. The vocals are almost naked. You know, there's barely any touches on them. I don't think there's doubles on them or harmonies.
Nope.
And I'm like listening to the song, and I'm like, dude, I feel like I'm like spying on this dude. Like I shouldn't even be in the room while the song's playing. Like it's so personal and so intimate. And I'm like, this is like the kind of music that like it ends up in like the third act of like a rom-com and it ends up just blowing up and being like a huge song. It's like that good.
Oh, thank you. There's part of me that wants to, because you're right. It was like it was live one take. For that whole EP that's on, it was like 4 songs that we just did all in a row. Like I think we had 2 hours rented in the space that we were in, the church that we were like recording this video, 4 songs and interview stuff. And then we literally just pulled it from there. And one of the guys that I was working with like did the mixing. He just had just the acoustic guitar, just the vocal, and just, you know, mixed it and added a little like reverb or something. And he made it sound really good, especially with how little he had. So.
Yeah, it sounds great. Yeah,
I was really happy with what he did with it. But I would maybe go back to it at one point and do like a more studio version and see like a more polished version, what that could be like. I think that could be cool.
Yeah, I mean, would you try to breathe life into it on this project, or does it not really fit?
I might, because, and I think I'd mentioned to you, there's like all these other songs from that time period or related to that relationship that really are, there's enough of them that it could definitely be at least an EP, if not a full album. And I think I could see taking like a couple of those songs, fleshing them out, and then making them part of the album. And it would be cool because I think that song in particular really like I just feel like it accomplished what it needed to in a way that not all my songs get to, lyrically at least. So it would be cool to just flesh it out, see how it feels, you know.
Absolutely, man. Give it another swing. Might have like a new energy, same message but different.
Right, yeah.
Coming out of the studio, you know. So take me through the difference between your mindset between April and October. I mean, there's obviously some tangible differences and changes, but internally, like, how are you looking at music differently, say today, than you were 7-8 months ago?
Well, I think there's just been like I tell people that I coach, outside of here, outside of music, or just when I talk to people in general, because I like to preach the same stuff if it's helpful.
Yeah.
It's just like everything is data. So the more data you have, the less every step that you do matters. So like because I've posted 3 to 6 times a day now for like 8 months, now it's like the posts don't scare me. But at the beginning, I was scared to make any post at
Yeah.
all.
Yeah.
Um, or when I try something a little different, I don't even think about it. I'm like, this might not really do anything, but it's like just for variety's sake, let's try it.
Yeah.
It's just like now there's not like this overthinking everything. And that just happens because you do the thing enough that you realize like, oh, nothing's gonna happen if I mess it up, quote
Right.
unquote.
Yeah.
So that's big. I think the same thing with making and releasing stuff. I'm just putting less pressure on myself about it, and that's helping with getting a little more like into trying to collaborate. So I think just starting to get out of my own way more by putting less pressure on myself, which just comes as like a result of doing a thing over and over until it's less scary.
So talk to me about that consistency, because that is important, and you have been like very consistent. I know just from day to day, and it hasn't been as, I know that you said you could feel repetitive. To me, it doesn't feel that repetitive, and I see your stuff a lot. It feels related, but not repetitive to the point of being boring or anything. It just seems like I'm a fan of this band, and they put out different stuff every day. What are some of the things you tell yourself to just keep you focused, consistent? Like, what are you aiming at? Like, what's your kind of like your driving motivators?
I guess overall, I have just kind of like the divorce part that we were talking about earlier, I think was just such a big turning point in my life. Like it really made me hit a rock bottom point. And everything from there, like once I started really turning things around, just kind of made me be like, okay, I want to feel like I'm free, like I'm in control of my life, like I'm intentionally living. And also just like, what am I really capable of? I was kind of like in a place in a relationship where I feel like a lot of what I got, like when I would share something I was excited about, instead of like having this person I was with be excited with me, it was like something would take the wind out of my sails, that she would say, and it would just like really deflated me. So just like seeing, like, I feel like I owe it to myself to just like anything I do in my life to continue growing and see how far I can go. So that's like a really big driver for me, is just to like empower myself and empower other people, like with what I share, hopefully like just inspires somebody to take their step to like start to get consistent and whatever. I don't know if I fully answered your question. I think there was more to
No,
it,
you
but
did. That makes sense. I mean, you figure you want to share your message. You want to inspire people. You want to feel free, and in feeling free, the discipline of posting every day, kind of like, it's kind of liberating, because you're like, all right, well, I know what I have to do. I have to put out my 5 or 6 posts. There's no anxiety about, all right, well, what do I do today to kind of move my thing forward? It's all right, well, this is what I have to do. This is my plan,
Yeah. And I was going to mention, so you said, it might not seem that repetitive. I do think it depends on where you're following me and what you see. Like the stuff I do on TikTok is very similar post to post, but I also like have been thinking a lot, okay, if I'm going to post regularly, I need something that's very easily repeatable. And I've seen people do similar posts and like they just do it for a very long time, and then eventually either they like blow up or they just grow steadily over time. Like there's a local guy here that I know who probably for 3 years before I started posting regularly has been posting on TikTok and like Instagram, and it's just almost the exact same kind of video for like 3 years of him just like standing there moving around while his song plays and whatever text he puts. And I mean, he's gotten up to like 20,000 followers on both those platforms and like 100,000 monthly listeners on Spotify. So I've seen a couple people even like locally where it's like, this is one of the few people I've seen do that and put enough time in and it starts to work,
Absolutely. What do you think your biggest challenge is?
I mean, really the making stuff, I think because I've been kind of like, I mean, in a way, because I've been in such a better place, I don't have the same type of inspiration to write. So now I'm trying to pivot to like writing for the joy of it rather than for survival, but still like having this dark side to the sound because that's just what I like. So it's like learning to write from a different place, really.
Interesting.
That can be hard, I think, for a lot of people who come from that, like, I'm surviving by writing. Like, a lot of people, like, stay there and then they're, like, miserable their entire life and they're considered amazing artists for their whole life, but then they, like, are never happy. I'm like, that's not going to beat me.
No,
I'd rather be happy than be a great artist, honestly.
I always refer to it, and I might not be talking about the same thing. It's the difference between writing from inspiration versus writing from discipline. It's like some people are like, I have to be out doing things, partying, or going through it like a breakup or something. And then it's like, okay, that high point or low point informs the music. Or writing from discipline, like, hey, I just spend an hour in front of a desk with a paper and pen from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. every day, you know?
Yeah.
And I've seen both approaches work.
Yeah, and I've done a bit of both, so I definitely know that it can be done, even if you're not like going through a thing. Also, like a lot of people talk about who have done this for a long time or have like even really gotten to a lot of recognition. It's like you might not start inspired, but if you sit there and write or like try stuff out on your instrument for long enough, you just get that one moment where like one little thing clicks with you, and then suddenly you're excited, and then it's like you might spend another 3 or 4 hours, and then you got a whole song, or you got started really on a whole new like wave of your sound or whatever. You might, you know, get inspired for like a bigger thing.
Yeah. I love that, and I hate that, because I know it's not like a linear progression, right? It's not like, all right, if I start here and sit around long enough, it's going to come.
Right.
And it's on this path and the inspiration is going to build up. It's like I can sit here for 3 hours and nothing happens. And then at like minute 59 of 2 hours, I get this spark, or I can get the spark in 15 minutes. And you don't know when it's going to come.
Yeah,
you know?
that's true. Yeah.
So
And it might
like,
not even happen that day for all you know.
Yeah.
But you got to show up, because as soon as it shows up for you, then it's like you're ready.
Right. It has a way of showing up about 20 minutes before I have dinner plans.
Yeah,
that's when it shows up. It's like I was like, I'm in a session. I finally hit my stride, and it's like, oh, we have 30 minutes before I have to go be at the thing.
Yeah,
you know.
But that's also when you know you have something good, is when you're like, God, I wish I didn't have to leave right now.
Right.
You know?
Right. Right. Yeah. You know how many engagements I had to reschedule. I was like, look, man, I hit my stride. Sorry, we got to do the thing tomorrow. Yeah. Well, looking forward, in the not so distant future and the future, what does success look like for you in, say, 3 months, and then success look like for you in, say, 3 years?
I think more than anything, just kind of in my life in general, and this extends to music, is I just want to continue finding ways to like make it more fulfilling and more aligned with myself as like a person and my ideals, my values. And I think it's super easy for myself, and I think a lot of people, to be hung up on the numbers. I know that's like super easy for me to get too hung up on. Lately, I've been finding like less and less of that pull to be like checking things repeatedly, which I get really OCD about. Just like, did the numbers update for today? How is it going? But the more that I do things human to human, so this is why I want to do more collaboration stuff, like those moments where I'm with a person, we're doing a thing together, that doesn't exist in those moments. You know, I'm not even worried about like how this is going to do. I'm just worried about like the feeling of like building a thing that makes us feel something, which I think is the whole point of it, really. It's just like trying to spend more time doing those things, and then just doing like, I guess, the most efficient way of marketing, and keeping that like as separate and minimal as possible.
And like the short-term goal, you mean?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's both long-term and short-term, but I do think, like so many other people will tell you, like if you focus on just like doing the work, like, and to me, the work is also included like being a human that's collaborating with other people and making things that like mean something and feel like something, all the like recognition and all that stuff will just start to come as a result. You know, same as in the gym, like I don't go in there, I don't have goals in the gym anymore of like, I want to hit this number on my bench press or whatever. Like I used to do that, and I still have like my log every day of what I'm doing, but I don't have like a specific goal. And now like I just feel so much more motivated to just go in and like push myself, try to beat what I did, but like I just know I'm trying to improve. That's the only real goal, is like do it consistently and try to continue improving. That's it. Then my head and music is kind of going that way.
Yeah, I mean, for those of you at home watching this right now, what you don't know is that Jorge is actually kind of jacked. You can't tell in this shot right here, but we were talking about, he told me he was like a personal trainer, and I was like, okay, I didn't really think much of it. And then a few weeks later, he's actually on Instagram squatting like 400 pounds. And I'm like, oh, he's actually yoked. So yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, man. You've been keeping up with your workouts?
Yeah. So it's like Monday through Friday kind of thing for.
Yeah. What's your bro split?
Actually, it's kind of a weird split right now, because I just have like 2 workouts I alternate between. And I had like 3 months ago, I just had a workout where like my shoulder was, I don't know, it got weird. Um, and it hurt real bad. Like I'd never had it hurt that bad. But I'm like, I've been lifting for 15 plus years overall now, like on and off and more consistently for like the last, I don't know, 7, 8 years. I'm just going to do the thing I always do,
Yeah.
start real light again, work my way up and give
There
it
you go.
time. Hopefully I don't have to go to the doctor. And then like after 2 months of that, like the stuff that was hurting, like now I'm stronger than ever on some of those little muscles in the like rear delt,
Yeah.
because I've done a bunch of stuff. So my workout on both days is kind of like a full body thing each day with a variety of variation on like each exercise. Like one day is like forward and, bench press and row. One day is like vertical push and pull and deadlift one day, squat one day.
Cool, man. So what's your best performance experience since we last spoke? What's the show that you did where you're like, I actually did a really good job on that one?
I played this show on September 4th, I believe it was. We did a house show at a friend's place, and my girlfriend also played on that one. But that one's really nice because house shows, like everybody's attentive, everybody's there to like really be with you. So that kind of goes along with that connecting human to human thing I was talking about. But I played like 30 to 40 minute set. I just felt like I was really like in it because of that environment. And then I played one song that I wrote during like that really, maybe a little bit after that like rock bottom moment of my life. It's called Bottom Out, and it's just like about getting through like rock bottom basically. But I like unplugged for that song. It's like my second to last song. I unplugged and like walked around and like played it just acoustic for everybody. And then I went back and did like one of my louder finisher songs. But that whole show felt really good and felt like it connected with everybody a lot more.
Do you do covers when you perform?
For those types of shows, I'll do like one or two, maybe, depending on how long I'm playing. For like longer, solo bar gig or things like that, I'll do like, I don't know, half and half, maybe.
Yeah. What's your go-to cover tune? When you're like, all right, I got to resuscitate the crowd. I'm gonna play this one. This one's gonna get them.
I play so much like more indie stuff that like I don't know if I ever do resuscitate the crowd as far as like super popular stuff.
I don't know if I ever do resuscitate.
Just in the sense of like the stuff I play is not going to be big popular songs in that sense.
Yeah, right.
Like for me, I mean, a popular song within that world of what I like to play is like Just Like Heaven by The Cure. That's something like that, which like the right person, the right audience will know it. It's popular, but it's like not the most mainstream in the same sense as like.
I mean, it's not like oversaturated on a but it's still that's into that tune.
But yeah, with those types of gigs, it's also like, am I trying to like entertain the crowd the same way as like at a venue? No, because it's like it's not meant to be the same kind of show anyway. It's
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. In the off chance you get like that pocket of people that just like love that song, like you own them now.
That's true.
Yeah, they're like, oh, he's one of us. Right on.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Cool, man. All right. So what is the strategy now for this next project? We're 2 songs into what I hope will be a full-length LP. The Devil You Know. Can you talk to me a little bit about strategy? Obviously, you're posting consistently. Can you kind of give us a peek behind the curtain of like what you're looking to do with that?
For as like consistent as I'm posting, as far as I think overall like organized as things look, I'm still always figuring things out little by little. So to me, I just kind of look at it as like I'm chipping away at like what things I don't care enough about to continue doing long term. And each song that I put out, like I think for the most part, I'll still be doing singles to EPs. But the more like album type thing, the songs like where I have a lot of songs that could be a full album, I think it's really like that couples counseling stuff that's like about that relationship, just because I have the material. So as far as like a full album, that's the most likely to get there first. But I'm just kind of trying a lot of stuff, just doing what feels right. Right now, the idea of collaborating more is really like, I don't know, picking at me. It seems like the right thing to do next. So
I could get behind that.
Yeah. So one of the things I do want to like write more stuff in that vein. That's like a little more high energy, more rocking, because it's fun. But I have this like idea that came to mind a couple days ago of just like either like an album or like or an EP or something that's like either titled like The Male Loneliness Epidemic or like something kind of like related to that, and then
Mhm.
just doing like a collab with a different guy, like artist I
Mhm.
know for
Okay.
each song, and just kind
Okay.
of like breaking that concept by like doing something that's less lonely, which is like working with another guy, which I haven't done
Yeah.
a ton of. So I think
I like
something like
that.
that would be cool.
Have you written with other people before?
A couple songs with my buddy John. We have that Happy New Year song out on Spotify and everywhere, which we wrote a couple years back. We have one other song that we wrote that's kind of like a Midwest emo song. I really like to record, and that one I think is really good as well. We just haven't gotten around to like getting it down. But other than that, not like I don't think I've completed a song with anybody else besides him. Really.
I always go into writing with somebody, and the conversation about the song always ends up better than the song. Like we go into this like the studio with this like big idea. Not, I don't want to discourage you. I'm sure you're gonna write awesome songs with a bunch of cool dudes. But like we go in like, yo, we're gonna write this song about this and how we're that, and we're gonna and both of our styles are gonna mesh perfectly. And like 90
Oh,
minutes into the session, I'm like, we'll just go drinking. like like it just
yeah,
like
right.
for whatever reason, like I write my best stuff by myself.
Yeah. Well, I think that's part of like the whole concept of what I'm talking about. It's like, especially with guys, I think it's very hard for people to like fully get comfortable and open up. And like even with the stuff I've been putting out this year, one of the changes that I notice is each time I go and record with my buddy Ryan, who's helping mix and like playing on the bunch of the instrumentation, I'm just more comfortable. So like I'm going all the way with my singing instead of holding back because I'm not nervous about being around somebody that I didn't know as well when we started. I'm more like willing to say like, how about you try this with what you're playing? Because like now I don't feel like, oh, what if he like doesn't like that I'm trying to direct it, you know? So it's just if you're co-writing, like I don't think you should expect for it to go well on day one. It might,
Right.
but you
Mhm.
got to go in with the same mentality as like any song you write. Like it may or may not be great. It might be the worst thing you ever write, but then you move on to the next one,
Yeah.
and that's
Sure.
it. And it doesn't really matter. Like I said about posting, after enough times, it's like each song doesn't matter that much because you've put out 50, and
Right.
now that one that's bad like doesn't even matter because now you put out a great one 40 songs later.
Makes sense. What is something that you feel you do well?
I think change.
Yeah. You change well.
I honestly think that is. I've thought about that over the years, and I've seen so many people in my life that like I think I've kind of outgrown because even though like in certain moments it's been really hard for me to change, like I've always kind of been willing to continue changing, even if it's like slow at some points. But especially since my divorce, like every single day, like since that time, I'm thinking about like who I want to be. Like it doesn't ever leave my mind since that like rock bottom time. So it's just like a consistent drive to like get better at being who I want to be. So and I think that just kind of like you have to go through a really rough time to some extent to have that drive. Now I don't like put some huge pressure on myself about it the way I might have initially. But I still have the like desire to just see who I can become and the like the drive to just give myself like, you know, the best version of me. So that's why I say change. It's just like I've seen how much I've changed in the last few years. I've seen how much I've changed from like me as a teenager who was like, I don't talk to anybody because I'm terrified. Even like in mid 20s, I was terrified to talk to people.
Really?
All of those things, like getting out and playing an open mic when I was going to turn 30 for the first time, which is like 2019. I was like terrified to do that. And that's 5, 6 years ago. And now it's like I've played hundreds of gigs. I don't think about it. It's just I'm a different person. And that's cool.
Yeah, man. That is pretty interesting. Almost like I would say something you're good at. You said change, growth, evolve, kind of like pick your, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. That's cool, man. The flip side of that coin, what's one skill that you wish you could refine?
I think just continuing to connect with people emotionally. That's like just the getting back to being more open with people and vulnerable to build that kind of like closeness. And then just when it comes to the music, like being able to put myself fully into it emotionally. Because I think after all that time of going through hard stuff relationship wise, I went from a place where I had put myself really out there. I was making friends and feeling really connected to people. Then I went through such hard relationship stuff that it really closed me off. And now it's been kind of a reopening. So approaching that emotional connection to people with my collaborating and all that stuff, but just from like a healthier place.
Yeah. Would you call that a skill, or is that more of like a trait?
Well, I guess part of the way I think in general is I consider pretty much everything a skill. And that's why I'm so like, if you think you want to do a thing, like you can, like everything's data, everything's practicable. Like I just don't really like the idea of like, I'm just this way for good, or I was born with this skill and like that's all I'll ever have. Like there's so many things that I am just the complete opposite of. So like when I think about how much I've changed, I also just believe if I can change as much, anybody else can change as much or more. So like I do think that's a skill too, like emotional intelligence. I've changed that a lot.
All right. So if you were to sum that up, you would say you would want to learn to be more open, accessible, approachable. Am I going off?
Yeah,
I think make sure I paraphrase it correctly.
Yeah, I think at the core of it, really, and maybe this isn't like, maybe this I wouldn't call like a skill in this way, but it's just about like trust, putting trust in people again, being willing to like trust people more and see where that goes. There's the risk of getting hurt in various ways. In a sense, that just goes back to the skill of emotional regulation. Like I know now if I get hurt, like I always think like I've already gone through rock bottom. I already know like pretty much the worst I've ever felt. Like it's probably not going to get worse than that or much worse than that. So I can handle it now. I have better mental emotional skills to handle stuff. So
now, are you one of those people like me that has a hard time compartmentalizing your relationships? Like I feel like I have no middle gears. Like if you're my friends, like, or you're my friend, I just like ride for you, or you're just like a very casual, like high and by acquaintance, and there's like no middle, right? So, but like once you get to that point, it's like that's when you're open up to like that's when you're the most vulnerable, because I just expect everybody to love on me the same way I love on them, and not everybody has the same resources, skill set, personality, bandwidth, whatever you want to call it.
That's a good question. I think I have a hard time getting to the other end of it, like where you're talking about where you're like just super ride or die. I'm like intentionally having to work towards that because I just think I never really grew up with that. I think my mom is the only person I've ever really like known who just seems to have that, like she's just so ready to like help people and so like dives in emotionally. For good and bad, sometimes sometimes she gives it out too easily for people she barely knows. But at the same time, like I think it'd be better in the world if we were all that way rather than all closed off. So
that's so funny you say that. I get it from my dad. My dad's the only other person I've seen like that.
Really?
Like my dad will literally walk into a room and be like, "All right, who's unhappy? That's my mission today." And just make some stranger feel special. I'm like, man, you're here with us, man. Like, what are you doing? He's like, he just has to like spread his like joy to whoever is like just not happy. He's just a rare kind, man. I don't know what it is. Like he doesn't know how to like love people in parts. You know what I mean? He's just like he just like loves you. Like whoever you are.
Yeah, and I think ultimately like that's a really important place to be able to get to. I think that itself is just like the only form of real love, because I was telling my girlfriend Andy this like a day or two ago when I was going to therapy with my ex. We were trying to do the couples counseling thing there. One of the things that I like really learned and committed to internally since then is just like, I don't think you can really love somebody if you're trying to get something out of them. Sure. So like you have to really get to a place where you're caring for yourself so well that like you can go out there, and even if somebody's an asshole, you still empathize with them because you're like, I don't need anything from you. I just hope you do better, like in your life. Like I hope things turn around because obviously you're hurting. So I think people like my mom, like your dad, something about them, like I think they never lose sight of that empathy for people, no matter how much they get hurt, which in itself is like a really special thing.
Yeah. Neil Strauss talks about this a lot. He's like, you can't simultaneously. He said, you'll never know if somebody truly loves you if they need you, right?
Right.
And then he said, and he says it's hard to love somebody if you need them. Yep. So there's a correlation between love and service, in that the only way to truly serve somebody is to serve from a position of surplus, right? What you do is once the cup has to be full, and then you serve from the surplus that lands on the saucer. Like you think about a coffee cup and a saucer. You know what I mean? 100%. So that you have to be full, and then once you're full, you actually have like the right headspace, resources, mindset to be able to come alongside of them and like truly lift them up. But if you're loving them to help, for them to help you fill the cup, it becomes like this weird dichotomy where you're trying to like fill the holes of yourself with the other person, and that never works.
100%. Yeah. Yeah, that's actually very much how I've thought about it too. And when I started getting into that mindset, that's how I visualized it. Was just like, you think about somebody being angry and then they project it out. It really is the same thing. It's just like whatever you fill yourself up with, enough of it, it starts overflowing out, good or bad. Right. So you better put good stuff in there.
I hear you, man. What do they say, man? You want to find out who somebody really is? Give them money, alcohol, or adversity. You know? Like the alcohol didn't make you racist. Like you were racist. The alcohol just made you say what you always felt. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sadly.
It's funny, man. So, what do you have planned for the holidays, man? Do you do any crazy traditions or anything?
Not really. I think the difference this year will be probably do something with having my family here or my girlfriend's family here. I'm not quite sure yet, but my family, since my older sister moved back into town from Massachusetts, she's been hosting because she's got like the bigger house to host and everything. But I don't know. It'll be nice to just like do just simple like dinner and hang out. We'll usually play some games. Nothing too exciting, but yeah, I think hosting here for at least one, maybe like Thanksgiving.
Cool.
That'll be the new thing that we haven't done before.
Nice, man. So if somebody watches this episode and they want to support Valentine, what's the best way to do that? The single best way to do that if there's only one?
I think like most people who are trying to get away from doing everything on streaming and just buying the music, I think the idea of buying like a t-shirt or something, it's nice because it's just like a tangible thing that we, create, and everything is so digital now that I do think a lot of us are looking for more like tangible connections to each other. But yeah, a purchase is like always 100 times or more over a stream. But ultimately, I'm happy with whatever people are looking to do to support, whether it's listening or whatever else.
And where can we find you?
You can do VLNTYN.com, VLNTYN.com. That'll take you to everything else. That's probably the easiest way to find me. But all the social stuff, I'm Vallentine the band as the handle.
Well, I got to tell you, man, this has been great to connect with you. You always have a home here. You want to come in, promote something, or just talk, man. You are officially friend of the show. And my friend. So I want to thank you for your time and connecting with me. The rest of you, make sure you tune in every Thursday. If you liked what you saw here today, make sure you tell somebody who loves music. See you next week.